He started to see some things that were like micro cheating, like just little small things where she was reaching out, talking to her ex, and he ended up finding out about it. And unfortunately, when you find out about something like that and you're someone that's anxious, you can't rest. Like you're constantly thinking, all right, when's the next time this person going to betray me? Can you trust your ex after a rebound relationship? I mean, I guess you have to ask yourself, what are the repercussions of allowing someone to come back into your life and reopening that door up? You know the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Can you trust an ex? I think you can. And I'm gonna tell you why. I have seen where people have gotten out of relationships and started rebounding with someone else. And I guess it all depends on the way that they get into that new relationship. If they do something like monkey wrenching and they have essentially betrayed you in that relationship, no, I would say don't even go there, because usually what happens is they're going to gaslight you, talk about how you were the problem, how they weren't happy, X, Y, Z. But what's really happening is they don't have a great moral compass. And this isn't even a judgment. This is just an observation. So you can't trust those scenarios. The scenarios that you can trust are the ones where they weren't looking for someone. There may have been someone that was maybe hanging around, someone in their orbit, and just so happened to get into the situationship. And usually what I see with those relationships is the person doesn't necessarily even want to have a serious commitment again. They're not even concerned about meeting the next love of their life. They're not concerned about getting married right away. None of that. They're usually just really vulnerable after this relationship ends, because it's new. It's lonely, it's confusing. There has to be a rebuilding of yourself after you have, especially long-term relationships. So trust after a rebound is something that's a very tricky topic and a tricky thing to navigate. But we don't usually know all the facts about why a person left. I mean, there's things that they'll take to the grave with them. When you are able to really have a good discernment of character and why a person is doing what they're doing, then you can really make a different decision about whether this person is trustworthy again. If I have to think about what I would do personally, or the things that I tell my clients, is figure out what accountability you need to take for this person going off and getting into another relationship right away. If you felt like you were someone that showed up for them, you met all their needs, you were really just a good partner, then this person has an issue with being able to be content and actually seeing what valuable relationships look like and appreciating those relationships. But if you were someone who was negligent, someone who didn't really meet the needs of this person, and it takes some radical honesty with yourself. But how many people are very honest about how they showed up in relationships? How many people are radical with taking accountability? Because I know I am, and the reason I am is because I'm all about personal growth and trying to become a better version of myself. So me sitting in denial and not understanding the role that I played in that breakup, I could tell you in my past relationships, I was very anxious, I was very insecure, and because of that, it pushed people away. And because of that, it made them go look for options that were more masculine and that was more confident within themselves. So for me, let's say I got into a relationship and, after a year I pushed that person away with jealous insecurities and accusations and all these different things. And then that person goes off, get into another relationship, finds out that person wasn't who they thought they were, and they tried to come back to me. That is a scenario where I would say, I can give this another try. I didn't put my best foot forward in that previous relationship, because that old relationship has to die. It has to be something that is buried and no longer a thing anymore. You don't want to get back into it because of anxiousness or insecurity or because of, fawning over that person. But if a person left and I know I showed, exactly the way I showed up the way I needed to show up for this person to feel secure and to feel like, all right, I'm a trustworthy person, and they still go off and get with someone else while they were in a relationship with me, of course they won't admit to it. They won't tell you that, oh, I've been texting this person for the past 6 months. I've seen a scenario where one of my guys I used to coach, I love doing this because it helps bring these things to the forefront. One of the guys that I coached, man, I thought he made some really good progress, but he ended up getting into a relationship with another lady, having a kid, and becoming dysregulated again. And the reason why was because he started to see some things that were like micro cheating, like just little small things where she was reaching out, talking to her ex, and he ended up finding out about it. And unfortunately, when you find out about something like that and you're someone that's anxious, you can't rest. Like, you're constantly thinking, all right, when's the next time this person going to betray me? And you don't want it to be that way. Unfortunately, it's just how it is. Like, this seed gets planted and it gets watered, no matter if you want to water it or not. So it didn't help that she was, kind of denying that she was talking to her ex again, kind of gaslighting him as far as like him being too anxious and being insecure and jealous. But he ended up getting dysregulated again, and they ended up breaking up. So he reached out to me and asked me, what should I do? Should I take this person back? And I'm thinking, how can you trust it? What is the repair plan? I'm all about repair plans. There has to be some transparency moving forward. There has to be conversations being had. We need to do some therapy or some counseling or some coaching or something. There needs to be something to hold you accountable as for. And also, there needs to be a plan in place where I can also show up better. Because if you come back and I start doing the same thing that I was doing, you're just going to walk off again. I need to know you've had some realizations within yourself that's not going to cause this to happen again. It's inevitable. There's a saying called, that goes, once a cheater, always a cheater. I didn't believe in that. Cheaters can change, but it takes the core of them. The weeds that they have in their mindsets needs to be de-weeded before they can stop their cheating. I mean, you'll see people stop cheating in their old age, when they feel like they're getting heavier, when they feel like they're not as attractive as they used to be, all those things that aging brings. And you might not see them cheat anymore because they know where they're at right now, or mentally they're thinking that where I'm at right now is my best option. And they may even become more clingy and more insecure about themselves. They don't have the options to cheat anymore. Wrapping it up, if you're thinking about getting back with someone, or even if you're just hopeful that you can get back with someone, know that some things need to change, massively change, in order for you to even trust that person again. Because I don't know the condition that they left you in or the circumstances that they left you in, but the one condition that needs to change is you need to be transparent. I don't want to be gaslit. If I'm questioning you about things, this is a process for me. One of my friends, he's an author. He wrote this quote in his book. He said, "You don't get to push my buttons and tell me which way my emotions go. I'm not an elevator." So if you found this video of any value, please like, comment, and share it. If you want my help personally, you can reach out to me on my website at www.fruitfulseeds.com. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.